We got our first trailer for the How to Train Your Dragon live action remake. I'm not doing a reaction to it because it is a movie being distributed by Universal, and recently they have unethically claimed a number of my videos where they literally claimed footage of my face as footage from one of their movies, and when I appealed that, they didn't pull it back. So I am not doing anything that might lead one of my videos to send money directly to Universal, so long as they're behaving in a fraudulent manner. Also, I wouldn't have an interesting reaction to a trailer like this anyway. But what do I think about the footage that we have and the project in general? I'm not really sure what to make of it, because it just feels like, why are we doing this, especially so soon? They're trailing, a decade behind Disney, really leaning into the strategy of doing live action remakes of the classics. But even when Disney was doing it, they were going back at least over 20 years for the first batch. Normally over 30 years, sometimes go back 50 years. And in the case of this one, the original one is only 14 years old, or it'll be 15 years old by the time this movie comes out. And I believe it's from the same director, too. So that's peculiar. It's not even a generational gap, where, for me, it's very cool to take my children to see Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King on the big screen as a new film, because I was raised on the Disney Renaissance. I saw all of those movies, Little Mermaid, every single one of them in the theater. They were the Disney movies of my childhood, and now I have children that are the perfect age that those are movies of their childhood. Now, I don't think most of them live up to the original, and it's just the novelty of taking my kids to it. But there's that generational gap that makes it interesting that is not here for How to Train Your Dragon, because it's only been 15 years. It just feels too soon. And likewise, flip side to that, if you're going to do a live action remake, certain projects, I think it makes more sense than others because the nature of the film lends itself to a live action adventure. The Lion King, while it did make $1 bazillion and became the highest grossing animated film of all time, doing it as a live action remake, this is a weird sentence given the contradictory language being used, doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense to do Lion King as a live action remake, because the charm is lost, because a photorealistic live-action lion cannot emote, because lions do not emote. Thus, you steal all of the life and energy out of it. However, a big sweeping adventure about riding on dragons and pirate ships and Vikings and all this stuff is very thrilling in live action. It's a big action-adventure period piece with dragons in it, based on the most popular TV show of the last decade. Big epic period piece of sorts. Dragon adventures are very hot commodities in live action. So you can look at that and you go, there's something there that makes sense. All that to say, how does this footage look? I think it confirms both of those things. You watch it and you go, why? What new are you adding here? What is fresh? Because this feels like this is right out of the movie. You're just frame for frame adapting the animated into live action. Why? Flip side, man, some of that stuff looks really cool. Man, you throw a human, do really good animation on a dragon. You play that score. That's one of the best score. I forget that How to Train Your Dragon is one of the best scores of the last 20 years, because I kind of missed the first two movies when they first came out, because I was just in that phase of life where I wasn't going to go see movies like that because I didn't quite have kids yet. And so then by the time I had kids and they started watching the TV shows, you hear that rousing score and it's like, oh, wow. You just watch this trailer and they just do this, that music plays and you're like, wow. So you imagine when you're in the movie watching live action, which is the beautiful, expensive photography, gorgeous CGI, and that music plays, it's gonna be powerful. But also, why, besides the novelty of, look, I'm seeing it in a new format? It's not fixing a problem with the original one, because there are no problems with the original one. It's a fantastic animated film. Other things, so how does Toothless look? Toothless looks eerie because he looks so good. That they've really reached this point in time where you're seeing this very animation accurate version of Toothless, but also it looks like a real thing that's there with texture and little cracks and whatever you want to, like, there's so much depth to the design that it looks like a real thing. It doesn't feel like a plastic toy in front of him. It doesn't feel flat. It is fully believable, textured, layered, and I'm still oftentimes marveled at what they're able to do now. And sometimes it gets creepy because it's like, I don't understand. How are you making this very cartoonish, well, animated dragon look real in live action? That's incredible. So I've got a lot of different mixed feelings on this one. I'm confident it will be fully competently made and that it will play great watching it with my kids in a theater. Will it become the one that we like? I grew up on Aladdin. My family rewatches the Aladdin live action more than the animated film. Some of that's when it came out. Some of that, I just think it lends itself well. Like, I think it's one of the better ones. So for whatever reason, that one for my household took over. But that's the only one. You know, we watched the animated Little Mermaid. We watched animated Lion King, of course, animated Beauty and the Beast. But Aladdin, that one kind of cut through. And I wonder, because it is kind of just something thrilling about live action, dragons, ships, battles, will it translate pretty well? I don't know. There's nothing in this trailer that indicates on a story level what justifies its existence. But I do think it's one that could lend itself well. Maybe not so soon, but could lend itself well. And visually, like, it has some depth to tell all that fun stuff to it. That's my take on it. Let me know your thoughts down below. Keep talking movies and TV too much. Bye-bye.